A new approach to aging. As people enter old age, they often feel pressured to choose between remarriage, moving into a nursing home, or hiring a caregiver. Society frequently associates aging with dependency, making us believe that living alone automatically means loneliness and struggle. However, that's not always the case. My name is Harry. I'm 73 years old, and I have discovered a different path. A new approach that allows me to maintain my independence, find joy, and build meaningful connections without following traditional choices. After my wife Mary passed away, I faced deep emptiness and uncertain questions about the future. Many people advised me to remarry, move into a senior living facility, or hire a caregiver. But none of those options felt right for me. I wasn't willing to give up my freedom or confine myself to a lifestyle that didn't bring me comfort. Instead, I found another solution: a mutual support model where seniors can help each other while still maintaining their individual lives. This is the story of my journey and the lessons I have learned along the way. 1. Autonomy in old age. Choosing to age on my own terms. As old age approaches, many people worry about whether they can continue living independently. Society often assumes that seniors must remarry for companionship, move into a nursing home for care, or hire a caregiver for daily support. However, I believe there is another way to enjoy old age without relying on traditional options. My name is Harry. I'm 73 years old, and I have chosen a different path. One that allows me to maintain my freedom, happiness, and meaningful connections without unnecessary obligations. When my wife Mary passed away, I was faced with loneliness and pressure from family and friends urging me to remarry, move into a nursing home, or hire a caregiver. But I wasn't willing to give up control over my own life. Remarriage may be the right choice for some, but for me it wasn't necessary. After nearly 50 years together, I felt that my love story was complete. I also wanted to avoid the financial and emotional complications of starting a new relationship later in life. I had seen many remarriages create tension between adult children and step-parents, and I didn't want to find myself in such situations. A nursing home initially seemed like a reasonable option: professional care, a community of seniors, and structured activities. But after witnessing my sister-in-law Laura's experience, I realized that not all senior living facilities are as ideal as they claim. Life there was dictated by rigid schedules, mass-produced meals, and surface-level social interactions. Within months, Laura lost her enthusiasm for life. Seeing her decline made me realize that such a place was not where I wanted to spend my remaining years. Hiring a caregiver was another option I considered. A home aide could help lighten the burden of household chores. But could they replace the warmth of a true companion? I didn't just need someone to cook and clean. I needed connection, someone to share life's simple joys with. And I knew that no matter how dedicated a caregiver might be, they couldn't provide the kind of companionship I truly sought. After much thought, I decided I wanted an independent yet fulfilling old age. I didn't need to remarry, move into a nursing home, or hire a caregiver. Instead, I wanted a lifestyle that aligned with my values and needs. That's when I came up with a new approach: building a mutual support system with like-minded individuals. Rather than following the traditional path, I sought out others who shared my perspective, people who valued independence but also recognized the importance of emotional and practical support. I soon realized that many others felt the same way. People who didn't want to lose their privacy, didn't want to be confined to a rigid system, but also didn't want to face old age alone. I found a companion on this journey, Anne, a childhood friend who was also widowed. We don't live together, we don't share finances, but we support each other in daily life. We go grocery shopping together, cook meals, garden, and participate in community activities. We each maintain our own space but have companionship when we need it. This arrangement allows me to live a life that is both free and meaningful, without depending on my children or paid services. Old age doesn't have to mean dependency or loneliness. If we take the initiative to rethink our options and seek out alternatives that suit us, we can build the life we truly desire. For me, this journey is about finding freedom, genuine connection, and a fulfilling life on my own terms. 2. Life after retirement. From the bustling city to the peace of home. When I was younger, I loved the fast-paced energy of New York, the crowded streets, the lively coffee shops, the convenience of having everything within reach. But as I got older, I realized that what once excited me had now become a burden. The city no longer suited me. After nearly 40 years of working, my wife, Mary, and I decided to leave in search of a quieter, more peaceful life. We sold our apartment in New York, leaving it to our son, and moved to a small, tranquil town. Downsizing wasn't easy. Letting go of things that had been part of our lives for decades was a challenge. But the fewer possessions we had, the lighter I felt. We chose a small house with a backyard, where Mary could plant roses and I could tend to my vegetable garden. Instead of waking up to honking horns, I woke up to birds singing. We spent our days taking walks, chatting with the neighbors, and enjoying life without the financial stress of the city. People often asked me, "Why not live with your son?" Before we moved, we had tried living together for a while. At first it seemed fine, but soon I realized that 6 people under one roof wasn't the right solution. The space felt cramped, the daily rhythms of different generations clashed, and I didn't want to become a burden. Love doesn't always mean living under the same roof. Sometimes a little distance helps maintain strong relationships. The first few years in our new home were peaceful, but then Mary passed away. Suddenly the house felt empty, and my evening walks were filled with silence instead of her laughter. It was the hardest time of my life, but even then, I never regretted leaving the city. Had I stayed in New York, I might have buried myself in distractions to avoid facing my grief. Here I had the time to process my loss and accept change with a sense of peace. I've learned that aging isn't just about where we live, it's about how we choose to live. Sometimes, to find true peace, we must be willing to let go of what's familiar. And I've never felt freer than I do now, living life at my own pace. The shock of losing a life partner. Facing loss and finding peace. When Mary was still by my side, I never thought much about living alone. We had planned for our old age together, envisioning peaceful days in our small town, living a simple and independent life. But then, one day, everything changed forever. Mary passed away, leaving me alone in a house that had once been filled with laughter. Losing a life partner is a shock that words cannot fully capture. It's not just about losing someone to talk to every day. It's about losing the familiar rhythm of life, the small but meaningful routines we built together. Meals suddenly felt empty without her sitting across from me, and evening walks became lonely strolls through quiet streets. I had been so accustomed to Mary's presence that when she was gone, the world around me felt unfamiliar and distant. The first days after Mary's passing were the loneliest I had ever experienced. The house felt larger, the silence heavier. I woke up without anyone to greet me in the morning, without the warmth of our simple conversations. Every corner of the house reminded me of her, the chair she loved, the books she had left unfinished, the rose garden she had tended to with such care. There were moments when I thought I wouldn't be able to move forward, that the emptiness was too overwhelming to bear. Family and friends tried to comfort me, offering well-meaning advice. Some suggested I remarry, find a new companion for my remaining years. Others encouraged me to move into a retirement home where I would be cared for and surrounded by people. A few even recommended hiring a caregiver to help ease my loneliness. But none of these solutions felt right for me. I knew that nothing could replace Mary, and I wasn't looking for a substitute. Remarrying wasn't something I desired. We had shared a fulfilling marriage, and I didn't feel the need to fill the void with someone new. A nursing home might have offered convenience, but I wasn't ready to live by a rigid schedule and give up the freedom I cherished. A caregiver could assist with household chores, but I didn't want a stranger in my personal space every day. I needed something different, a way to move forward without losing myself in the process. I began facing my loss in my own way. Instead of suppressing my grief, I allowed myself to feel it fully. I spent time doing things that made me feel close to Mary, tending to her garden, reading her favorite books, and writing down our memories. Slowly, I realized that Mary was still with me. Not in a physical sense, but in every cherished moment I continued to honor. I also learned to reconnect with the world in a new way. I didn't try to fill the void with meaningless interactions, but I opened my heart to those who truly cared about me. I started participating in community activities, reconnecting with old friends, and finding small joys in everyday life. I wasn't looking to replace Mary, but I learned to appreciate the relationships I still had. Over time, I came to understand that the pain of losing Mary would never fully disappear, but it no longer had to prevent me from living. I transformed my grief into motivation, to live better, to make the most of the days I had left, and to find peace within myself. Losing a life partner is one of the greatest challenges of old age, but it is also an opportunity to reflect on life and discover new meaning. I'm no longer the same man I was before. I'm a new version of myself, someone who has endured loss but still chooses to move forward, still chooses to seek happiness in a different way. 4 reasons for rejecting traditional solutions. After Mary passed away, I was met with countless suggestions on how to continue living alone. Friends and family, with the best intentions, advised me to remarry, move into a nursing home, or hire a caregiver. They believed these options would help me feel less lonely and provide the support I needed for daily life. However, none of these choices felt right for me. Remarriage was the most common suggestion, but I didn't see the need for it. Mary and I had a fulfilling marriage, and my love for her remained unchanged. I wasn't searching for someone to replace her or to fill the void. Moreover, I had seen many remarriages in old age result in complications, issues with finances, family conflicts, and mismatched lifestyles. I wasn't willing to sacrifice my peace just to conform to the societal belief that everyone needs a partner. Moving into a nursing home seemed like a logical choice. Professional care, a social environment with people my age. But reality proved otherwise. I watched my sister-in-law, Laura, choose an upscale senior facility, hoping for a comfortable life. However, she quickly realized that rigid schedules, mass-produced meals, and a lack of true freedom left her feeling more isolated than ever. Within months, she became depressed, her health declined, and she ultimately decided to return home. Seeing her experience, I knew I didn't want to live under strict routines and lose control over my own life. Hiring a caregiver was the last option I considered. A live-in aide could assist with household tasks, cooking, and even provide some companionship. But what I truly needed wasn't a service-based relationship. I needed a genuine connection. No matter how dedicated a caregiver might be, They couldn't replace the natural bond of a true friend. Additionally, the cost of long-term care was significant, and I didn't want to rely on others when I was still capable of managing my own life. I didn't reject traditional solutions because they were wrong. I rejected them because they weren't right for me. I wanted a life of independence and freedom, without loneliness. And I knew I needed a different approach, one that truly reflected my values and personal desires. 5. A mutual support model for seniors. After rejecting traditional options like remarriage, moving into a nursing home, or hiring a caregiver, I asked myself, is there a way to maintain independence while still having companionship when needed? I didn't want to live alone in loneliness, but I also didn't want to lose my freedom. That's when I came up with an idea, a mutual support model for seniors, where we could help each other without financial or marital obligations. Anne immediately came to mind, a childhood friend who lived nearby. We had grown up together but lost touch as life took us in different directions. By chance, we both returned to our hometown to enjoy retirement and had both lost our spouses. One day, Anne brought me a bowl of homemade soup, a simple yet heartwarming gesture. As we reminisced about our childhood memories, I realized that the connection between us was still as natural as ever. I proposed an idea to Anne. Mutual support while maintaining personal space. We wouldn't live together or share finances, but we could assist each other in daily life. If Anne needed help fixing something in her house, I would gladly lend a hand. If I had extra vegetables from my garden, I could share them with her. Those once lonely dinners could become more enjoyable by occasionally cooking and eating together. We began implementing this model naturally. Every week, we went grocery shopping together, shared meals, and helped each other with small tasks like cleaning, gardening, or simply taking an evening walk. Instead of feeling isolated, I now had a flexible routine that allowed me to maintain my independence while still enjoying meaningful companionship. 6. The effectiveness of the mutual support model. When I first started the mutual support model with Anne, I wasn't sure how far it would go. Would it truly bring comfort and companionship, or would it just be a temporary solution? But over time, I realized that this was more than just a way of living. It was a shift in mindset about how we can embrace aging with freedom while avoiding loneliness. Instead of living alone and allowing isolation to creep into my daily life, I now have companionship in the most natural way. We don't see each other all the time, and we're not obligated to be involved in each other's lives every day. But we both know that whenever we need help, there's someone we can count on. This creates a sense of security without any feeling of restriction. One of the biggest changes I've noticed is the peace of mind it brings to my family. My son used to worry about me living alone, afraid that I might feel lonely or struggle without support. But when he saw that I had a friend like Anne, he felt relieved. He knew I wasn't just spending my days in solitude, but had a real support system in place. The same goes for Anne's children. Though they live far away, they no longer worry as much because they know their mother is not alone. Another unexpected benefit is financial. Instead of hiring a caregiver or moving into an expensive senior facility, Anne and I help each other with daily tasks. We go grocery shopping together, share food, and sometimes take turns cooking meals. If something in the house needs fixing, I help Anne so she doesn't have to hire a handyman. If I need a ride to the doctor, Anne takes me, and I do the same for her. These small acts of support not only save money, but also strengthen our friendship. Beyond practical benefits, this model has helped me stay socially connected in a way that feels right for me. I don't need to attend large social events or force myself into superficial conversations. Instead, I have a true friend, someone who shares my interests, enjoys walks with me, and appreciates a simple meal together without any pressure. This isn't a replacement for marriage or family. It's a different kind of relationship, a meaningful friendship in our later years. Of course, not everyone understands this model. Some of my friends were skeptical at first, asking, "What if one of you gets seriously ill?" I can't predict the future, but I know that no option is perfect. Even living with family or in a senior facility comes with its own challenges. The most important thing is that I'm living each day fully, with a solution that suits me. If we ever need additional support in the future, we will figure it out. But for now, this arrangement brings me peace and happiness. Looking back, I believe this was one of the best decisions I've ever made. It allows me to maintain my independence while having a strong support system. It also challenges the traditional views on aging, showing that we don't have to follow a set path but can create our own, as long as it brings us peace and meaning. 7. Joy and peace. In a new way of living before fully embracing the mutual support model, I had concerns about whether this was the right decision. I often wondered, would this lifestyle feel inconvenient? Would it truly help me avoid loneliness while maintaining my independence? But, as time passed, I realized that not only was this a practical solution, but it also brought me a sense of joy and peace I never imagined experiencing in old age. Living alone without being lonely, something I once thought was impossible, has now become my reality. This model provides me with the perfect balance between independence and companionship. I am not bound by a rigid schedule like in a nursing home, nor do I have to adjust myself to fit into a new marriage. I also don't have to worry about the employer-employee dynamic that comes with hiring a caregiver. I live at my own pace, yet I know that whenever I need companionship, there is someone nearby to share life's moments with. One of the things I cherish most about this lifestyle is the simple joys I had overlooked before. When I was busy with work and family, I rarely took the time to truly enjoy a slow meal, an unhurried conversation, or a quiet afternoon in the garden. Now Anne and I can sit on the porch, sip tea, and talk about the simplest things I never realized were so valuable when I was younger. I've also come to understand that having a trusted companion helps me stay connected to life in a healthy way. When living completely alone, it's easy to become isolated without even noticing. The days can become monotonous, and I sometimes worried that I would withdraw from the world without realizing it. But thanks to Anne, I have the motivation to maintain good habits, taking walks, participating in just the right amount of social activities, and staying physically and mentally healthy. More importantly, the peace I've found does not come from having someone by my side at all times, but from knowing that I am not truly alone. I don't need constant company, but I do need the reassurance that, when I reach out, someone will be there to listen and share. That kind of invisible yet powerful comfort makes life feel whole and fulfilling. Some people have asked me, "Do you regret not choosing a more traditional path?" My answer is no. I have nothing against options like remarriage, moving into a senior community, or hiring a caregiver. Those choices work for many people, but they were not right for me. I wanted a life where I remained in control, where I could decide how my days unfolded. In the end, I've realized that happiness in old age is not about how many people surround you, but about whether you can find joy in your own life. With this model, I have discovered fulfillment in everyday moments. And most importantly, I have found a peace I once thought was lost forever after losing Mary. Lessons learned. Living a life of freedom, peace, and meaning. Looking back on my journey, I realized that old age is not a time of decline or loss, but an opportunity to rediscover life on my own terms. When Mary passed away, I was faced with many choices: remarriage, moving into a nursing home, or hiring a caregiver, options that society deems appropriate. But I chose a different path, one that allowed me to maintain my independence while still fostering genuine connections. I left the bustling city and returned to my hometown, seeking the peace that a fast-paced life could no longer offer. I rejected conventional solutions because I understood that happiness does not come from being surrounded by many people, but from having meaningful relationships. That's when Anne and I built a mutual support system, free of obligations, free of dependence, yet strong enough to help each other navigate the challenges of aging. Through this way of life, I rediscovered joy in the simplest things: a warm meal shared with a friend, an afternoon stroll, a heartfelt conversation. I no longer let the fear of loneliness consume me. Instead, I learned to cherish each present moment. Growing older does not mean accepting imposed choices. It is an opportunity to shape our lives in a way that truly fulfills us. And I have chosen to live a life of freedom, peace, and meaning.